As you can tell by the title, it is the end of a chapter of my off-road life. The old trusty steed, the CRF250R, the red hold on, maybe not that name. But yes, the dirt bike that I've had for 4 years, the dirt bike that I learned to ride dirt bikes on, the first bike I've owned, it's gone. It's leaving today. I've been talking about it for a while. I've just never pulled the trigger, much like my truck, you know? I've just talked about selling it for a while and never did, but I'm finally pulling the trigger on it. After this last trip, I'm like, you know what? I've had my time on it. And at this point, honestly, it's just becoming a money pit, and it's slowing down the progression of this channel, I feel, for now. I can't keep dumping money into this if I want to start new projects or build the truck up even more. So I think it's time to let it go. Now, this isn't to say that I'm done with bikes forever. I might get a different bike, a newer bike later down the road, but for now, I think bikes are coming to a hold. So I listed this bike maybe 2 days ago, and within 24 hours, I had like 10, 15, maybe 20 messages of people who wanted the bike. So needless to say, I guess it was a sign. This bike sold super, super fast, and I met up with the future owner yesterday. Real nice guy. Really reminds me of myself when I first bought the bike. You know, it's gonna be his first bike. It's something he wants to learn on. He wants a Honda, and it's just weird seeing where I used to be like 4 years ago when I first bought the bike. But yes, it is the end of a chapter. So you know what you guys can do because it's the end of a chapter? Hit that subscribe button, boys. You know we're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. It's already February. We're not even out of the 500s yet. So tell anybody you know, tell everybody you know. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I think it's like 98 or 99% of the people that watch these videos haven't subscribed yet. So go ahead and subscribe. It's totally free, so I don't know what you have to lose. With that being said, let's get back to the bike. So I don't like to be a scummy or shady salesman, so yesterday when he came over, we talked about the extensive history of the bike, everything from good to bad, so he knows everything he's getting into. I had a lot of oil left over, like fresh oil left over sitting on the shelf, so I changed the engine oil, and then I found out I had a little more than enough to do the transmission as well, so I changed the transmission oil, so it's got fresh oil in both. The air filter is clean, it's drying. I'm gonna spray the air filter oil on it right now, and I'll throw that in. So completely fresh everything going on here, at least like fluids and maintenance wise. If you haven't been following the channel or any videos on the bike specifically, let me kind of go over what I've done since I got the bike. So when I got the bike, it was running. It was a running bike and everything, but there were just it just needed some TLC. It needed some parts changed to make it be running more efficient and better than the way it was when I first got it. So since I've had the bike, I put on new tires, which I put on because of the accident I got into, and it shredded the front and rear tires. So I have new desert tires now. It was originally on track tires. I also got new grips because they were kind of dulled out, no texture. My hands were kind of sliding all over them, and these got ripped open in the accident, so I put new ones on. New clutch lever because I tipped the bike over when I was first learning how to ride, and it bent the, actually I have the old one over here. It bent the old handle out a little bit. It's all tweaked and whatnot, so I just threw a new one on. I think that's a new air filter. It had a different one that was just kind of worn and ready to be replaced, so there's a new air filter. I put a new NGK spark plug in here. I sent the bike off and had the clutch plates redone when I first got the bike because the clutch was atrocious. So there are carbon fiber clutch plates in here now. The top end was rebuilt 14 hours ago, I believe. Also, when I first bought it, I got a new rear sprocket, a new front sprocket, and a new chain, just so I had a different sprocket ratio going on. I had the suspension tuned that 1 year I went to Ocotillo Wells and had like a retired Supercross like factory mechanic tune my suspension for me there in the desert. And speaking of suspension, the video that never got released, long story short, when I was having these rebuilt, found out that the right side fork was completely destroyed internally. It's laying over there all decomposed. Essentially a metal piece in there broke off, just shaved the whole rod inside, and it wasn't extending or compressing properly. So on Facebook Marketplace, I found two slightly used, like new 450 shocks. So this is a 450 shock with a 250 spring inside, and this is the original shock on this side. They work pretty well together, honestly. The only difference you could see is just more of like a a little bit of a different design in them, but they line up properly, they work together properly. I've taken it on 2 trips and haven't had a problem. I think that's all I've done to the bike. Like I said, it just needed some TLC. I didn't do any like major upgrades. It was more just fixing what needed to be fixed to get it running pretty good. So the new owner should be on the way right now. I'm gonna throw this air filter back in, and I kind of want to get one last ride on it. 1, because I'm sentimental like that, and 2, because there's no better feeling than riding a bike after a fresh oil change with transmission and engine and a new clean air filter. No better feeling than that. So I'm gonna break in that new oil change. And just because it was dark yesterday, I made the terrible mistake of using the air filter cleaner inside the garage, and it smelled so bad. The fumes were way too strong. So I gotta do this outside right now.
In the morning and I ask myself, it's life worth living, should I blast myself? Oh man. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself.
All right, so we got the air filter covered in the oil, reinstalled. Now we just gotta throw the seat back on and try to get a quick little rip before it gets too dark out.
Should I blast myself? Wake up in the morning and I ask myself.
She is running minty right now. Honestly, after going over the whole history with the new owner yesterday, I sort of realized like how far this bike has come, even though it's been, like I said, very small, like changes that kind of needed to be done to get it to a better place than it was when I bought it. Like when I first bought it, the gears were so rough. Like shifting them, trying to find neutral, everything was just a pain in the ass. Which is why I got the plates changed out, and it feels a lot better now. Doing the regular oil changes, it feels a lot better now. The clutch used to be temperamental, we got that fixed, it feels a lot better now. The tires wouldn't grab as well out in the desert. 1, because they were a track tire, and 2, because they were just like worn down to the point where when I did crash, they just ripped right open because the knobs were just tearing and everything. So that combined with also getting the shocks tuned to my weight and everything, this bike just feels like night and day now that I can think back to how it felt when I first bought it. She still is a little snappy son of a bitch though. Like the torque on this is kind of crazy, because I think the guy who had it before me said he built it for track. So a lot of just snappy actions to get out of corners faster and whatnot, but she's a little ripper. You know what? She earned the title Red Rocket. There you go. So I guess now while I wait for them to get here, I'm just gonna clean up from all the maintenance I was doing last night and pull together all the spare parts I'm giving him along with it. And I'll catch up with you guys when he pulls up. All right, even though it's dark, it just pulled up. He's here, new owner's here. I'm all about presentation, dude. Editing it up, get the spotlights, put the spare parts out on the table.
Yes, sir. Are you sad or what? I'm gonna take it.
Mainly sad just because of all the maintenance I just did on it. Like riding a bike after maintenance feels so much different versus right before the maintenance.
Let me get some pictures with the spotlight. I don't have
Go for it.
in my room, in my garage.
You always follow me.
But yeah, I already ran over it with you yesterday, like kind of what we're dishing out here. But like, if you wanted to listen into, because I'm assuming you're like the buddy that rides too, that's gonna help him.
Yeah.
So
I got another buddy.
He's in control of all this shit. So
yeah. So the 450 shock, that's like fresh, and like all you'd have to do is like rebuild it essentially. Just honestly, if I were to do it, like if I kept the bike long enough to do so, when you're like doing the fork seals and oil on the shocks again, I'd say pull that 250 spring out and put it in here just because of like the OCD and having like two of the same shocks together. We have the completely clapped, blown out shock here. The clap blown out, covered in oil. I wouldn't even touch it unless you want to get oil, but clapped one that you can use for spare parts if needed. Some other internals.
If I need to.
This is that fuel tank filter that you can throw in.
So
whenever.
I watched the one video you put. What was that other one? That was like
That's the actual pump, like the metal cylinder. Okay. Yeah. So then this is just a filter that like filters the fuel before it goes into the pump.
Yeah.
I don't know what these hoses are though. Oh, these are just O-rings. Never mind. I'm all hoses. You have the fuel additive, chain lube, because I mean I'm not gonna have a bike and I'm not gonna need chain lube. The cleaner for the air filter. Don't do it inside a garage. I found that out the hard way last night. I like fumed out the entire garage.
Yeah, fuck that.
And then the oil you spray on after it's all dry and clean and everything. Extra stickers that I got. Because who doesn't like stickers?
For sure,
yeah, I never threw them on just because they already had them on there.
Chain, right?
Yeah, that's the old chain in there, and then the old 2 sprockets. And then this is a chain link, I think, from the chain that's on there now. I just pulled one out because it was excessively long.
Okay.
I just had to tighten it up.
Yeah.
And then that old lever, I don't know if you want to keep it like in a gear bag, like if you bust a lever on a trip, you at least have a spare.
Might as well keep it. This one's huge.
Yeah, bro, I broke both my levers.
What, did you drop the bike?
Yeah. I did the same thing. Surprisingly, it didn't. Actually, no. Wait, I'm so confused now. I think both broke because one.
Surprised it didn't snap.
One of them has a perforated line like right here, and it snapped clean at the perforated line. So I'm assuming that's why they made it. And the other one bent. So that means they're both levers are new, and for some reason. I think I tried to find OEM ones and they only had an OEM brake, and then this is like the closest they had to like an OEM clutch.
Yeah.
So that's why they're different. I completely forgot about that.
I'm gonna try to figure out how to tighten this. This is my OCD.
Oh yeah, dude, mine's crazy. I just try not to think about it.
Right?
I've tightened the hell out of that one bolt right there, unless there's another one that I haven't tried yet, but I just don't want to like.
It's not even necessary.
I don't want to like.
It's something that would just kind of like annoy me, you know, like.
But you're not even gonna realize.
No, trust me, I will. Andrew, I got OCD huge. It's nice how we happen to be like the same weight. That was so perfect.
As I finish signing the paperwork, it's already gone, boys.
Yeah, you can get the process of this. The front is looking up front below the front is.
Oh yeah, dude, that's sick. Yeah, those are dope straps.
Yeah, those are nice straps. Where the hell did you get those?
You know, it's crazy. Some dude literally said, he's like, I'll buy it out from under him right now. He offered like the same price you were gonna do. He's like, I'll buy it for the same price, but I'll come get it right now. I was like, what? And like 2 other people were like,
I'm not that fucking.
2 other people messaged me today and they're like, so I see it's still pending. You want me to come get it? I was like, no, dude, he's coming back with a truck. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
Not that I thought about selling it out from under you, but like, while I was sitting here waiting, I'm like, I'm not that much of an asshole to do that, but what would my price be to sell it out from under somebody? I'm like, $500?
Yeah, how much
My brother's like, no, dude, 1,000. And I was like, 1,000? I was like, I don't know.
I was like, hopefully he doesn't hit me up and be like, someone's offering more, because I was like, I'm gonna be fucking depressed.
Oh boy, oh boy. There she goes, ladies and gentlemen. She's gone, she's sold. And luckily I trust him because I'd be scared that the check's not gonna clear right now. Like I said, end of a chapter right now. End of a chapter. But what I'm sure some of you have been thinking while watching this, what's he gonna do with the money he just made from selling the bike? I have 2 ideas, and I'm not going to tell you which one I'm going with because I honestly don't know right now. Either the Baja Bug, which I've been preaching for like years now, or I'm redoing the suspension on my truck, which means like rebuilding the shocks and most likely redoing the rear end setup altogether. So guys, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because we obviously have more content coming out right now. We're possibly going to be redoing the truck suspension. We're possibly going to be getting a Baja Bug. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy another bike right off the bat with this money. And we are going to be doing some more truck reviews coming up, guys. I got a Long Travel 3rd Gen with a pretty interesting guy that you guys might know by name. So stick around for that, guys. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.